welcome to my first video in my cluster building series. For this video, I wanted to concentrate on paper pads that do not come with stickers or really cut aparts. This actually is kind of a good example to use. Although it does have a cut apart sheet, the cut apart sheets are in 6x6 format. And so if I made a scrapbook page or some cards or something like this, I wouldn't have any ephemera to go with this or any embellishments to go with this. I would need to make my own, which is something I absolutely love to do. So what I'm going to do is just for this first part, this first series, video one, I'm just going to build some very simple clusters just using this paper pad and some scissors or a pair of scissors and some adhesive. Okay, so step one is I need to choose paper. I'm going to go through here. I'm going to look for several different papers that are solid, several different papers that have small patterns. I want a variety of colors, and then I need patterns or paper that have patterns of little things that I can cut out and fussy cut them so that they can be my icons. So flowers, butterflies, things of that sort will be perfect for this. Okay, so the first thing that I like to do is get some scraps going and make them in equal parts. And what I mean by that is I'm just going to take a piece of paper and I'm just going to cut them into just some random pieces, roughly some equal pieces, and just begin to make little groups. Keeping in mind that I need to keep, oh goodness, I need to keep these in directional. I think I'll just take that off here. Okay, I like this pattern paper. Take a little bit off. I think I'm going to cut it this direction. About a little over an inch. Now, obviously, this is the best thing to do is when you have just some scraps to use. But for this particular series, this is when you buy a paper pad again and you just have nothing to go with it. And you don't have stamps or punches or anything like that to go with it. Okay, so all right, so now I have several different bases that I could use. I definitely need to start to fussy cut. I did want to mention one thing before I get started on cutting all of these dimensions or these flowers out. Anything that's on the side of the paper like this, you can still use it. And I actually love using these because you can tuck them behind something. And so normally you might, if you tuck something behind an element, you might end up cutting that off anyway. And so if it's already cut off, then that's perfect. So that way you're tucking it and you're not wasting some paper. So make sure you definitely use the items that are even halfway done on the corner of the paper. Okay, so I switched locations and had to move from my office into the dining room in order to build these clusters because of the lighting, but that's okay. So I went ahead and began to make one cluster, kind of an idea. And so what I wanted to do is work through the process real quickly so you can see what I've done. And just to recap, I'm not bringing in anything extra. I'm only bringing in paper from the paper pack that I was using, and then I took several of the pattern pieces of paper and fussy cut a lot of the icons and little things out so that I can be able to build some clusters. So basically the first thing I like to do is start with a base. It can be any color, any base at all, but for example, I started with this light base here. I did round off the corners, but in case you don't have any punches, you can make it without. And then the next thing is I just began to take different pieces of paper and just kind of build, kind of working my way out from the center. And then once I get some paper, and we can just play with it and everything, but once I get some paper in a row, then I like to bring in one shape to kind of anchor everything. And I think what I want to do is bring this light piece to the front. So let's move that up, move this down, kind of stick that in there here. And then I want to see some of it peeking at the bottom there. And then I'm going to take my shape, I'm going to put it right about there. It's kind of the center, it's kind of off just a little bit. And then from here, I'm just going to begin to bring different pieces and kind of cluster them together. I have this piece and it was on the side of the paper, so that's why it's straight on this side, but that's okay. So I'm just going to kind of tuck it into a place where you really can't see, and then bring some other little pieces around. And like I said, the main thing I think is important is that you want to try to make everything touch. And if it's not going to touch, then that's okay. It can be kind of far away, like something like that. So these are basic clusters, but what you could do to really elevate this is that you can round all of the corners. You can use your pop-up dots to give things some dimension. So that's kind of, you know, sticking up above and giving dimension. You can add enamel dots, and then of course adding a sentiment would be really nice. If you found a piece of paper or sentiment, you could put it right in the middle. But I'm not making any clusters with sentiments. Like I said, this is just the basic level of making clusters. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to build just a couple of more, and that will be the end of this first series of very, very basic clusters using just the paper that you have. So, and a pair of scissors and things. So I think what I will do is we'll kind of change things up a bit. I think I'll dovetail this one here. Maybe making things, how about we just switch that a little bit? Make this go this direction. You can stick that there. Can make that here. I'm going to move this up just a little bit just to make sure that I'm in screen so you can see what I'm doing. Because I think I was building that, wasn't in focus. Okay, so I have all of the pieces of paper scraps that I was using, and now I need to use some flowers. I have kind of a large one, which I think I'll cut this one off here. Tuck that right there. Of course, we need some butterflies. I have one down here. Maybe one there, one right there, and then kind of layer some of that there. Could use a little bit more greenery. I think since I'm not having a sentiment, I don't want to leave too much of a blank space there. And then how about another little one right about here, and that way it's kind of going around the corner. So then I can adhere all of that together, and I'm okay with that. I do think it could use a little something over here though to break up that color, like maybe that little butterfly can sit on that flower. You really can't see it, and it does kind of blend in, but up close you can definitely see things better. And since that little butterfly's wing is cut off, I definitely cannot use that one. I need to switch it out. I just noticed that. Okay, so I think I'm fairly happy with that. So let's just build one more taking our pieces of paper, and I don't have any more of that little light colored paper. That's okay. Maybe we'll place that one here, like this, using our base pattern here. We can use this large piece of a large flower. Maybe it would be better if we kind of did it off to the side, like that. Might have to play with it a little bit. Have one peeking out there. I don't think we need that. Another little one. I'm trying to hide those little edges. Oh, I think I probably could use something bigger. Maybe overlap that. And then another little butterfly there. But his little wing is cut off, so I think what I need is definitely, I need a full butterfly. I mean, and if I didn't have anything, I could just kind of tuck it in there. And so basically that's it. You just take your pieces of paper and just kind of start in one small area and work your way out, and then build on top. And then if you want to go and add dimension, again, like I said, you can add enamel dots, you can round off the corners, you can get a pen, like a black lip pen, and you can make little doodle lines around the edges here to make it really stand out. You can add a sentiment everywhere that you have a blank space. But these are, like I said, this is just the first series in clusters on how to just make basic clusters, not using anything else other than scissors and some adhesive and the paper that comes with your paper pack. So I think what I'll do is I will go ahead and adhere these off camera, and then maybe I will embellish them just a tad more and show you how you can elevate those. But that is it for your basic level building clusters. Okay, I finished all of the clusters off camera, put them all together, tweaked them just a tad, and went ahead and used them on these portfolios that I have made. As you can see here, the little clusters that I've made, and then put a butterfly off to the side. That's one. Here's another of the clusters. Now, basically I did ink all of my edges, rounded the edges, and then added a little twine bow. This one, I used some pop dots, and I popped up this little butterfly here, rounded the edges and inked almost everything. And then the last cluster, it's much simpler, but I added some ink. I had to change out the color for a little bit lighter so it matched this, but other than that, I just made it simple. I think I will find a sentiment and put it here in the blank space. But that is the first video on how to make very simple clusters with just the paper pack. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you will come back and see the next videos in the series of cluster building. Thanks, have a good day, bye-bye.